right. As a coach, I often hear people say things like, Michelle, I'm really struggling with my willpower, or I just need to get motivated, right? So they come to me and they're really seeking help with accountability. They really need maybe a task manager, right? Now, I'm happy to help, believe me, but focusing on just your willpower is never going to be enough, okay? So motivation is really an area I love to focus on with my clients because once you learn the power of this, then you really understand how powerful you are and your life circumstances can change pretty quickly, okay? So I want to share with you 3 truths about motivation that you might not know, really in order to help you grow in this area, okay? And I mean, maybe it's a little bit selfish because if you know these three truths that, quite frankly, this week alone, so it's Thursday, I think, as I'm recording this. It's been a while. It's been a week. But as I'm recording this, I have had at least 6 conversations with people, and I've taught these 3 things. And so it really came down to, okay, enough is enough. I'm going to record this. I'm going to share these 3 things with you. People have paid money to get this, and you're getting it for free, okay? So I'm going to share these 3 truths with you. Take it, run with it, do with it as you please, okay? All right, so let's talk about motivation. So the first thing is, guess what? Motivation always begins within you, okay? I know that there's an argument out there that people will say, well, you can have external motivation, right? So there can be circumstances or conditions that can encourage you to be motivated, right? So, one of the easiest examples of that is if you get up and you go to your 9-to-5 job and you get a paycheck, guess what? That's an external motivator, right? So even when your alarm goes off and you're like, oh, I really don't want to get up today, right? The motivator tells you, hey, get up because you're not going to get paid, right? I look at that as not really a motivator. Sure, it's a cause and effect kind of thing, right? But if you're not motivated to get up and go and do your very best, I mean, sure, it's an external motivator, but it's not good enough because it can't give you that full, rich, deep life that you really want, okay? So it begins in you. Do you wake up every day ready to face the day? Or are you got to drag yourself up out of that bed? Okay? Now, I used to have to drag myself out of the bed. I can assure you of that. There was also a time when, quite frankly, I guess in the middle of my career so far, I was staying home with my kids. And I love my kids, don't get me wrong. However, staying home with them and just taking care of the house was not my thing, okay? It is for some people. That is just fine. It was not my thing. I'm not a housekeeper. It doesn't come naturally. I wasn't taught it. I don't think about it, okay? There are so many other things I would rather be doing with my time. So when I was staying home with my kids, I did not want to get out of bed. I tried to sleep in as long as I could. And if you're a parent, you probably already know this. If you have slept past when the kids wake up, if they're waking you up, guess what? The day is shot, okay? But I would say, especially in the last 3 years, but maybe the last 5 years or so, I have been so motivated to get out of bed, especially the last 6 months. There's been some shifts, some changes in the work that I do, and every morning I get the very first thing I think about. So if you've spent some time with me, you know that I'm a student of thinking and mindset and the brain. And I love the Think and Grow Rich book by Napoleon Hill. Some of you probably took our course with us, the Think and Grow Rich course that we just did, the 2020 version, right? And in there, he asks you to go through your desire statement, right? So there's 6 steps that he talks about. And basically, it is thinking through, what do you want? What do you really, really want, right? Not just what do you hope? What do you wish would happen? But what do you really want in life? And thinking through, maybe putting it into a smaller time frame. Like, I have a goal for my work for the rest of my life. It's definitely bigger than me. I'm going to need people's help. But I also have a goal for the rest of the year. And so the very first thing I think about when I wake up in the morning is my desire statement. Now, I don't have time to really go into that. Maybe I'll do that in a future blog, tell you what my desire statement is, where it came from, and how I created it. But I say that to myself before I get out of bed, and guess what? Before you know it, I am like in this energetic frame of let's go, let's get it done, right? That kind of motivation doesn't come from anybody else. It comes from within me. Okay? So the first thing you need to know about motivation is it always comes from in you. So are you looking for an outside motivator? Are you looking for something outside of you to get you going? It's great to have, accountability partner or a coach or a mentor who's going to help you walk that line, right? But at some point, you got to start living a life where you don't need an external motivator to get you going, okay? The second thing is that motivation creates momentum, okay? Momentum is an amazing thing, okay? Momentum is like when you're on a high, everything is going well. It seems like it takes no work to get anything done. Momentum is your best friend, okay? When you're motivated, you tend to have more momentum. Things come easier. It's less work, right? It's easier to make decisions. So in all areas of your life, when you're on a high, it's just easier to make those decisions that keep you moving forward. When you lose momentum and you lose motivation, it's hard to get started again, okay? So you want to take advantage of that. One of the things that I do is I try to release the things that are demotivating, right? So the things that really bring me down, maybe suck my energy. And I'm constantly, the one question I think in my personal life I'm really focusing on right now is, does this help me have more energy? And I'm asking that about everything and everyone. So for example, if I get up in the morning and I have coffee, the first thing I ask myself, does this help me have more energy? Yes. Okay. Now I can't just drink coffee. I got to drink some water too, because I know that helps me get energy. Now, sometimes I wake up and I say, man, what's going to give me energy right now? And the thought that comes to me is maybe sit down and study or do some meditation. Sometimes the thought that comes to me is go take a walk, right? That's going to energize me. Typically in the mid-afternoon, I'll have an energy slump. So I'll say, what's going to give me energy, right? And as I'm going through and I'm thinking about this, like what's the food, the drink, the people, right? Even the clients that I deal with. I ask myself, so if you're involved in a class or a course, or maybe we're one-to-one coaching with each other, guess what I'm asking myself when I'm done with you? Did that give me energy? And it's not your responsibility as the client to give me energy. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I'm saying is, if I don't receive energy from this interaction that we're having, I'm going to have to come to a place where I ask myself, do I continue on? And there have been clients in the past where I just say, no, not so much. Or maybe I've been asked to come to a speaking engagement, but because of all of the circumstances and conditions around it, it just didn't feel like a right match. Okay? So limiting those demotivating factors. Motivation creates momentum. You want momentum. Okay? And the last thing about motivation is, let's just face it, anytime you celebrate, you get more momentum and it gives you more motivation. So if you are struggling because maybe you've been through a low in your life, maybe things are just not clicking well, right? I've recently, for the last several days, kind of been in that low. And I feel myself kind of coming out of that a little bit. I'm still honoring that, but I have really felt very low. And I would say it's probably 3 or 4 days. And all areas of my life have kind of gotten hit. And I've had to kind of back off and say, wait a minute, let me just think about what's happening right now. What do I need? And I realized I needed to back off and let all of these things, whether they're good, bad, or ugly, happen. And then to just say, okay, now let's realign, recenter. Where do I want to go from here, right? Take baby steps. And then as I'm taking those baby steps, I say, good job, Michelle, look at you go, right? So for example, during that time, and quite frankly, it usually follows a time of frantic activity, getting some things done. Today I finally answered the one letter I needed to by mail, and I walked out to the mailbox. And when I was at the mailbox, I was like, you go, girl, because that was been on your to-do list for a week. You did it. When I sat down and I answered 3 really important emails, good job, Michelle, look at you go, right? And I didn't look at my to-do list that quite frankly is longer than my arm at this point. I looked at what's the one thing in front of me that I got done. And you know what? With every small task that I not only get done, but I celebrate, man, I feel so much better. So I'm creating momentum. And guess what? Motivation comes from that. And so instead of taking another break and maybe eating bad junk food and watching the TV, I'm going, okay, what else can I do? What other small thing can I get taken care of today, right? That's how you use motivation to your advantage. So you see why I say it's not necessarily an external thing, because let's face it, I mean, I'm a business owner. I am self-employed. I had somebody today tell me that self-employed to her meant that I worked a lot of hours and I didn't get paid much. I'm like, that's one way to look at it, but that's not my reality. Because I'm self-employed, guess what? I run the show, right? Which is a good thing and sometimes a bad thing, because if you're not motivated, your business is going to suffer. And the people you serve are going to suffer too. Okay? So it's got to be inside you. So I highly suggest that you conduct a motivation reflection, okay? See what motivates you, what brings you energy, what comes easy and natural to you, what demotivates you. So what's an energy vampire that sucks it from you? Could be a person, could be a situation, could be an activity, a food, right? And then just every single day, find some way to celebrate a small win. You know what I did yesterday? I kid you not. It was a hard day with people. You ever have one of those days where you get to the end of the day and you're just like, people, right? I got to the end of my day and I said, Michelle, you're amazing. You should get an award for all the things that you did not say. So you know what I did? I drew a big old star on a yellow sticky note and I stuck it up on my mirror in the bathroom and I said, good for you, there's your award. Because you know what? You're not going to get pulled up on a stage and given an award for not saying things, are you? Okay? But sometimes you should. So find a way to celebrate all of those small wins so you start to gain that momentum. And I guarantee you that internal motivation is going to be a driving force for you, and you will not need anybody outside you to keep you accountable or to be your task manager. Okay? I hope this was helpful to you today. I hope this got you thinking. And would you consider, maybe there are people in your life who keep coming to you and asking you for help, for accountability, help me with these tasks. Is there somebody out there that needs to hear this message today? Would you consider your friends, your family members, your coworkers, your servants in arms, would you consider them? And if there's somebody that pops up into your mind, would you consider sending them this link? Because let's get them to start to think about this too, okay? Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. And with that, I release you into the wild. Go forth and prosper. Have an amazing day, and we'll catch you next time. All right. Bye-bye.